Oh, wasn't I gonna get a drink? Wait, hold on a second. Yo, Conyer, are you watching? Conyer, are you watching? Hey, do you think you can mix me a drink? Like, you can f me up. I'll try to moderate my consumption of the drink. All right. I'll give my thoughts while there's still neurons running through my brain and I'm not completely fucking gone. Altogether, like, obviously, in terms of Biden's age, he stammered like every 5 seconds. That's not even an exaggeration. He actually really might have stammered every 5 seconds, or stammered, or stumbled, or made some mistake or another.
And our ability to have children in the future. Women are not without electoral power. Electoral or political power.
It looks bad. It makes him look incredibly old because he is incredibly old. Some of the stumbling was pretty serious. He had to like correct himself or double back or clearly go off script for a second. But there weren't any grievous ones. There weren't any ones that were so bad that it like will probably become a media sensation. In terms of the structure of the speech, yeah, its content, it was actually, I think, pretty great. You know, my criticisms of Biden are extremely well known. So, you know, with that qualifier kept in mind, the way it was structured, the things that he said, I think that they were politically effective. He focused on topics that seemed like they were of import to the American people. I liked his aggression. I think that he was very aggressive. When he talked about the Republicans' attitudes towards abortion.
When reproductive freedom was on the ballot, we won in 2022 and 2020, and we'll win again in 2024.
Pretty aggressive. He's being pretty aggro. More than last time, that's for sure. Hell yeah.
Unleashed by a Supreme Court decision overturning Roe v. Wade. She was told her dream would have to wait. What her family had got through should never have happened. Unless Congress acts, it could happen again. So tonight, let's stand up for families like hers. To my friends across the aisle, don't keep this waiting any longer.
Guns.
With us tonight is Jasmine, whose 9-year-old sister Jackie was murdered with 21 classmates and teachers in elementary school in Uvalde, Texas. Very soon after that happened, Jill and I went to Uvalde for a couple of days. We spent hours and hours with each of the families. We heard their message. So everyone in this room, in this chamber, could hear the same message. The constant refrain, and I was there for hours meeting with every family. They said, do something. Do something. Well, I did do something by establishing the first ever Office of Gun Violence Prevention in the White House, that the Vice President is leading the charge. Thank you for doing it.
Tax cuts.
Tonight, I want to talk about the future of possibilities that we can build together. A future where the days of trickle-down economics are over.
Oh.
And the wealthy and the biggest corporations no longer get all the tax breaks. It's time to raise corporate minimum tax to at least 21%. Americans pay more for prescription drugs than anywhere in the world. It's wrong, and I'm ending it.
Will this thing, it's over. It's done. It's by executive decree, all drugs are free.
Folks at home, does anybody really think the tax code is fair? No! Do you really think the wealthy and big corporations need another $2 trillion tax break? No! I sure don't. I'm going to keep fighting like hell to make it fair. Under my plan, nobody earning less than $400,000 a year will pay an additional penny in federal taxes. Nobody, not one penny.
I like that call and response. Generally, I actually think this is a very well-written State of the Union address. He didn't even get that many unified boos from the Republican crowd because often the speech was structured in such a way to make it so that it would have been ambiguous what the Republicans were booing if they had booed.
The working people who built this country pay more into Social Security than millionaires and billionaires do. It's not fair. We have two ways to go. Republicans can cut Social Security and give more tax breaks to the wealthy. That's the proposal. Oh, no. You guys don't want another $2 trillion tax cut? I kind of thought that's what your plan was. Well, that's good to hear. You're not going to cut another $2 trillion for the super wealthy. That's good to hear. I'll protect and strengthen Social Security and make the wealthy pay their fair share.
Oh, This is a good one. This is good. This is good. Like, for example, when he said the Republicans have like underestimated women and they have taken Roe v. Wade away and such, the Republicans can't really boo that because they ran on it. Like, if they boo that, then they're kind of like transparently indicating that they aren't happy with the political consequences of something they've been campaigning on for like 50 years. It was well structured in that response. The worst part of the night by far was Biden doing this weird waffly segue on the border crisis and referring to a person as an illegal when an American citizen was killed by an undocumented immigrant. Apparently, I don't know the exact details. There are literally tens of millions of undocumented immigrants in America. One of them did a murder. Okay, I hear this happens from citizens as well. Biden, while making his way up to the podium, talked to some of the people on the way and was given a button with the name of the murdered American citizen on it. And when he talked about his desire to address the issue at the border, there were people in the crowd who were talking. The Republicans, they were jeering, and he was like, yeah, like he incorporated it. Yeah, he kind of took the bait. Yeah, said like, yes, this person was killed by an illegal blah blah blah, and then he tried to like segue it into a thing on how providing more funding for immigration court would mean there are less violent illegal immigrants who come through, which is literally true, by the way. That is absolutely the case. That is true. Nothing he said there was technically incorrect, but the way he presented it and the fact that he referred to that person as an illegal is not good.
But unfortunately, politics has derailed this bill so far. I'm told my predecessor called members of Congress in the Senate to demand they block the bill. He feels political win. He viewed it as will be a political win for me and a political loser for him. It's not about him. It's not about me. I'd be a winner. Not really.
Was that Boebert? That sounded like Boebert. Oh no, MTG.
Lincoln Riley, an innocent young woman who was killed by an illegal. That's right. But how many of the thousands of people being killed by illegals? To her parents, I say, my heart goes out to you, having lost children myself. I understand. But look, if we change the dynamic at the border, people pay these smugglers $8,000 to get across the border because they know if they get by and let into the country, it's 6 to 8 years before they have a hearing. And it's worth taking the chance of the $8,000. But if it's only 6 weeks, the idea is it's highly unlikely that people will pay that money and come all that way, knowing that they'll be able to be kicked out quickly. Respectfully said, to suggest my Republican friends owe it to the American people, get this bill done. We need to act now.
Okay. I understand the point he was trying to arrive at there, but holy shit, that was the rockiest road imaginable. I just don't think people understand that point. Yeah, no. It was presented poorly. The main thing that I'm interested in, more so than anything else, is this, what appears to me as an incredibly aggressive statement on forming a temporary dock in the Gaza Strip to directly bring aid to the Palestinians.
Tonight, I'm directing the U.S. military to lead an emergency mission to establish a temporary pier in the Mediterranean on the coast of Gaza that can receive large shipments carrying food, water, medicine, and temporary shelters. No U.S. boots will be on the ground. A temporary pier will enable a massive increase in the amount of humanitarian assistance getting into Gaza every day.
There's a lot of ways that can go bad, but this would be an example.
Israel must allow more aid into Gaza to ensure humanitarian workers aren't caught in the crossfire.
I will actually pause for this. This could be, I'm sorry, this could be done really poorly, but at the same time, this is potentially one of those ways that he could circumvent Netanyahu and provide aid. Getting more eyes on the ground means that you could both get aid and deter like Israeli aggression in the area. That's if it's done well. Potentially, this could be very good. It might end up being nothing. This is like one of the smart things I would have suggested he do earlier. He said that no American troops would put boots on the ground, kind of suggesting that they would be on the boats, but that aid workers would deliver the aid directly into the Gaza Strip. Now, that's interesting. Netanyahu cannot possibly be happy with that, nor the fact that Biden finished his statements on Israel and Palestine with a reaffirmation of his support for a two-state solution, something that Netanyahu doesn't want.
As we look to the future, the only real solution to the situation is a two-state solution over time.
And calling for a two-state solution as well. This is definitely trying to, like...
And I say this...
go through Netanyahu.
As a lifelong supporter of Israel.
But the idea of America building a dock there is interesting. What if Israel shoots at the aid workers? Well, that wouldn't be very politically prescient of Israel. Look, let me tell you where Biden's at, okay? Biden is a Zionist, but Biden doesn't like Netanyahu. Nobody likes Netanyahu. No American president likes Netanyahu. Trump doesn't. Obama didn't. Bush didn't. Clinton didn't. Nobody likes Netanyahu. The Israelis don't like Netanyahu. Biden may be a Zionist, which he is, but Biden understands, even if he is indifferent to the suffering of the Palestinian people, that it is very politically bad for him to be so openly aligned with genocide when that is going on. Like, Biden and the DNC, regardless of their individual opinions on Israel or Zionism, understand that what is happening right now is politically ineffective. Simple as that. So Biden wants to stem the death of Palestinians, wants to reduce how many of them are dying, possibly even down to zero if he can get away with it, because it is politically expedient for him to do so. We're not talking about ethics. We're just talking about politics, what he feels is beneficial to him. So I have many criticisms of how Biden has handled this situation. I think genocide is bad, for one, but it seems like right now, Netanyahu is preparing for a ground incursion into Rafah, where over 1.2 million Palestinians are huddled in refugee camps. Many will die if the IDF directly intervenes, and the population is starving to death. There have already been Palestinian children, dozens, who have starved to death. And if there are some Palestinian children who are starving to death, that means that a lot of them are near starving to death, right? Kind of a minor problem until it's not sort of deal, except it's not even minor. It's children starving to death. A major problem until it's extremely major, I guess. Biden doesn't want that to happen. I need everyone to understand that. As bad as Biden has been on this, Biden is not sitting there in the Oval Office thinking, yep, can't wait to read a headline, 30,000 Palestinians dead of starvation found in one day. Like that, it's not good for Biden at all. That's just, I promise you. However bad you might think, there's a difference here. Netanyahu wants to kill Palestinians. Biden is a Zionist, yes, but I don't think Biden's waking up in the morning deriving joy from dead Palestinian children. I don't think that's not the level of Zionism he's on. He's on this like 1960s like US geopolitical power, America world police, like post-World War II Zionist nationalism bent. Like he's, whatever level he's on, it's not Netanyahu's. He doesn't want every Palestinian dead, even if his weakness and ineptitude and cowardice might end up leading to that happening. It would be politically beneficial for Joe Biden if they didn't all die, because as it turns out, some Americans would be upset about that. So this attempt to build a dock could potentially be a way for America to do two very important things. One, provide aid to the Palestinian people, much needed. And two, get either Americans or American-aligned people into the Gaza Strip to distribute the aid, and their presence would both put a lot of eyes on what the IDF is doing there and make it difficult for the IDF to be as reckless or indiscriminate. Guys, I understand that Israel has gotten away with a lot of really bad stuff, but even Israel cannot bear the social consequences of indiscriminately targeting or killing American aid workers. There are a lot of Americans who have died in the Gaza Strip, to be sure, but usually ones that are aligned with the UNRWA or ones that work for this journalistic org or this or that, the other. But there are limits, and Americans working with an American effort to build a dock and distribute aid, if they just start dropping like flies, that would be, look, I don't know for a fact that that would turn American opinion against Israel. All I know is that it wouldn't be good for it. That would be pretty bad. Maybe they do it and get away with it. I can't see the future. But I can tell you that it's not good for Israel for them to do that with regards to their support from America. Simple as. So maybe it'll end up being bad. Maybe it'll end up being a big nothing. It has the potential to end up being at least something. So Israel opening fire on UN workers is okay, but Americans are off limit? Yep. Yes. Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. Yes, that is correct. As bad as this country is, never forget what we are. That's so... Well, they should have been American. Sad. They'll do a false flag and blame Hamas. No, they won't. You think a government as incompetent as Israel could do a false flag against the United States? There's evidence October 7th may have been half false flag. No, there isn't. Hamas did October 7th. The crossfire between Hamas and the IDF did lead to Israelis being killed, but it was not like a planned thing from Netanyahu. Israel did know about the Hamas attack for about a year. No, they didn't. Israel had received intel that Hamas was planning something the exact same way that American intel agencies had received intel that bin Laden could be planning something for months prior to 9/11. What you have to understand fundamentally is that like intel agencies in any country, the people in those agencies are doing coke and fucking prostitutes. They're incompetent. They can be competent when they have a direct mission, but in terms of like receiving and parsing information and making good decisions long term, they fuck up all the time. It doesn't make it a false flag. It just means these governments are incompetent, which they are. We gonna watch the Republican response? Yeah. Tomorrow. I told you exactly what would happen if I drank. I find it really hard to believe Israel had no way to know this was going to happen. I don't know what you're saying. Israel, they knew it could happen. They were just incompetent. I don't know what you mean. Mossad literally surveilled Hamas training for the mission but didn't actually take it seriously. Yeah, here's a question, guys. If it was a false flag, why would there be so much evidence of Israeli government incompetence in surveilling and hearing about this information but not doing anything about it? Like, if Israel wanted to, like, let all this happen, why would they let it happen in such a way that tarnished Netanyahu's reputation further? And also, there's so much evidence of them just, like, failing to act on information they were given. Yeah, racism and low expectations of the Palestinians are definitely a big part of it. Because Netanyahu thought it would lead to a rally around the flag effect. Potentially, but like that's often the case with conflict. That doesn't mean that Netanyahu wanted them to break through and like take territory in town and kill so and so many people. I think I'm just shocked a country that is supposed to be that much of a power is so incompetent. That's like cartoonishly insane. Nope, that's fascism. Sorry. The more irrational, ethno-nationalist, and jingoistic a military or an intel agency or whatever else is, the more incompetent they get. Most coups, most fuck-ups, most big terror attacks or whatever else, you read the stories into them, they're almost always the consequence of massive arrogance and incompetence. Like, basically every time. You look at any of the, like, recurring coups that happen in like West Africa or you know, Sub-Saharan Africa or Southeast Asia or just any of these areas where a lot of this shit, you know, just constant turmoil. And it's like, no, you know, people are just arrogant and stupid. That's just how humans are. For them not to be is the rarity, you know?